Murder, She Watched contains adult themes and adult language. Listener discretion is advised. Murder, She Watched is for entertainment purposes only. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Murder, She Watched, the podcast where we solve murders from our couch. My name is Amye Archer. I'm your host. And I'm here today with our friend, Ashley, friend of the pod, Ashley, therapist, Ashley, most important here. Hi, Ashley. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good. I am so excited to talk to you about this documentary because I think we have a collective what the fuck.
We have a collective what the fuck here. I went on a journey with this. Guys, we're talking about The Cult Behind the Killer, the Andrea Yates story, which is on ID, but you can also watch it on HBO. I went on a real journey with this because I remember when this case happened. I remember it being in the zeitgeist. I remember thinking that Rusty was, and I keep wanting to call him Randy. I have no idea. I keep thinking Rusty was 100% responsible. All right.
Me too.
So when I see him pop up on my screen, I get a little jump scare.
Same.
And I'm like, oh no, we're not doing this. We're not doing a redemption tour, Rusty Yates. That's not happening.
Yes. Yep.
So when I was finished, I wanted to go and listen to, because a lot of people have been criticizing this documentary because it doesn't talk about the crime a lot, but I'm like, the literal name of it is The Cult Behind the Killer. So it explores Michael Warnecki, who I will get to. But so I wanted to learn more about and to just kind of fact check my memory about what happened between Rusty and Andrea. So I listened to a few pods. One of them is Time Suck, which is one of my favorites. I listened to a few other Murder in America I listened to, which is a good one. And I'm left feeling I'm left having complex feelings about it all.
Same.
And like many cases, I don't feel like there is a clear answer as to who is at fault. I think socially we just want to blame somebody. That is, you know what I mean? But I think Rusty missed a lot, but I also think Andrea missed a lot.
Agreed.
So it's complex and it's
very
it's hard.
It's so hard. And I think I flip-flopped so many of like trying to find someone to point the finger at this whole time, because like you, I've blamed Rusty this whole time until watching this. And then watching this, I mean, I still blame him, but
he still has blame 100%. Yes.
Yeah. And we can get into it, but I think my biggest blame is their choice to have a fifth child. That is where one or both of them should have hard stepped in and been like, evidence supports this isn't a good idea. But
yeah,
then you put the Warnecki side of it and it makes sense. So
all right, so let's talk about it. And I implore everybody, don't shut us off right now because you think we're Rusty Yates apologists. We are not. I hate this man. He's got a lot of things to answer for here. But I see a more balanced picture is what I'm kind of saying. So Ashley, this is literally my first note, okay? Fuck this guy. We open with Rusty? No, we're not doing this.
I know. And he's just like, how could we have known this is how it was going to happen? I'm like, screw you, dude.
So we go to Houston, Texas. Rusty says he met Andrea by the swimming pool in a apartment complex that they both lived in. She was working as a nurse at MD Anderson. This is a smart woman. Now, being smart, quote unquote, means nothing when you suffer from mental illness. You know this. I know this. You can be the smartest person in the world and not be able to have any idea what's happening with your own mental health. So I don't kind of judge that, if that makes sense.
For sure.
So he says, she looked happy. She looked pretty. They got married. They talked about kids. They came pretty quickly. She loved being a mom. So here's the years that their kids were born. Noah in 94, John in 95, Paul in 97, Ringo in no, I'm just kidding. There's no Ringo. Luke in 99. And Rusty says after Luke was born, he noticed a shift in Andrea. She was distant. And then their fifth child, Mary, was born in 2000. Now, you work with a lot of people with postpartum, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like if she didn't have that child that she could have gotten this under control?
Mm-hmm. I do. It's and how quickly she was having them together. So at the point of the crime, we had a 7, 5, 3, 2, 1, and 6-month-old.
Mm-hmm.
We had 5 kids under 7. So add in all the overwhelm. I mean, I only have 3 humans and it's hard.
Yeah.
Add in all the overwhelm. And then after having, like, she had, I think they said that her last 2 were within a year apart.
Yeah.
So she's already showing signs of I'm unwell. This is like when she's holding the knife to her throat, and their solution is like, we'll put this in God's hands. And I'm just like, there was every
Yep.
warning sign that it was only going to get worse. And
So
I
that's my
fully
question
believe
to you. Like,
yeah,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Can somebody
you're good.
be on meds for postpartum? Let's say it's the psychosis, right? Can somebody be
Yeah.
on meds to maintain that and still get pregnant, or do you have to go off those meds if you want to have children?
It really depends, and I don't really I'm not educated in that
Right.
side, so this is not medical advice, but from what I've seen is they kind of have to weigh the cost. That's like, is it a greater threat to mom or is it a greater threat to baby? If we're
Okay.
on or off of these meds,
That
and
makes sense.
most of the time they have found that moms can stay on a lot more meds than we're allowing because
Mhm.
there's like a 0.01 chance risk of harming the baby. They're like, well, then mom has to go off of it. Like, mom can't be on
Mhm.
ADHD meds. Mom can't be on a mood stabilizer. But
Okay.
that's not necessarily the case. There's a lot more research on it, but shocking, people haven't done much research on pregnant women. So,
Shocking.
and
Mhm.
it takes about 18 months, like from when the baby's about 18 months is usually when postpartum depression / psychosis starts fizzling out. And she
Mhm.
never even got to that reprieve. So she kind of just went right
Oh,
into the
interesting.
next.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
interesting. So it was compounded.
Yes. Mhm.
So we hear the 911 call. I don't want to get too detailed into this because it's dark. What you need to know is that
Yeah.
Andrea Yates systematically drowned her 5 children. And
Yeah.
if you want to listen to Time Suck or Murder in America, they go into much more detail about what happened to those kids. This isn't really about that. So I don't want
Mhm.
it because it's hard. It's hard and it's dark. So just
Yeah.
know that this happened on June 20th, 2001. The cops arrive. She says, I just killed my kid. They find the children. They don't even let Rusty in. Like, he's outside. Now,
Mhm.
Moses Storm is in this documentary, and I was really compelled by this kid. A lot of people didn't like
Mhm.
him. They were like, oh, he was
Mhm.
performative or da da da. I liked him.
He was very vulnerable. I could see him saying stuff that maybe he hadn't said out loud before. I could see
Mhm.
how that could seem performative. Um, but also he's accepting his extreme belief and saying things out loud that, like, you could just tell, it's messy because he
Yeah.
hadn't said it before. Like, that's kind of the best way I could say it. Because, like, in therapy, when people are like, "I've never said this before," it
Yeah.
usually comes out a little kerbobbled, and I kind of was getting those vibes from him. But
Okay.
he I liked him too. The last which we'll talk in the last episode, the conversation was so
Mhm.
awkward, but we'll get to
Mhm.
that.
So he says, I 100% know why Andrea Yates did this. I know what's behind it because that was one of the things. And I even remember this in
Mhm.
the press at the time, and we see a little bit of it. Like, everybody wanted to know why. What was the motive? Like, it wasn't enough for us socially to just say this was a mentally ill woman who had postpartum psychosis. It wasn't enough. Like, they still needed to men kill their families every day. But when a woman does it, it's like, we need to know why. We need the why. So it was really different. So Moses says he grew up knowing the Yates family because they were all part of this group that followed this preacher named Michael Warnicki, he gets a big old fuck this guy because I hate this motherfucker.
Yep. Same.
So Moses, he says the soundtrack to my childhood was Michael Warnicki. He was big on Judgment Day. There was a lot of fire and brimstone. He said if there was a thunderstorm, my mother would drop to her knees immediately and pray to God to spare us. And we see videotapes of this asshole. And he is saying, like, you're all going to hell.
Yeah.
Okay. The fact that this man preyed on college students is somehow worse to me than anything else, because I always say this, you've listened to me for a long time. You've been part of the pod for a long time. I always say you have such an immense responsibility as a parent, as a teacher, as a guiding force in a kid's life. And I don't care what you say when you're in college. My girls went to college. They were 18 years old. They were like babies. And you are vulnerable and you are open to new ideas in the world. And he's on college campuses. Oh,
yes. And when I went to U of A, that's where I got my undergrad, was University of Arizona in Tucson. There was people like this everywhere there. Everywhere. And I'm like, I wouldn't doubt if he was one of them, but it was so common to just be walking to class and you have a man screaming in your face, like a foot away, you're burning, you're going to burn in hell. You're going to burn in hell. Like, or screaming at girls with their dress like skanks and stuff. Like, it was insanity that was how that college campuses would even let this on. Cause now in Utah, there's no way they would even let anyone on campus with this, but at U of A, it was fine.
We had one too. I think his name was Gary, but we used to call him like the Holland preacher. I can't remember, but I went to Penn State main campus and he would stand outside this building every day with these signs telling us all. And like, one thing the students used to like to do is try to challenge him and have conversations, and you couldn't win because he wasn't working with, super strong logic here. But we had it too. And I went to college in 95. So it was, yeah. So Moses was the fourth of 5 children. And he says his mom's name was Kathy and Michael Warnicki was her uncle. She was the pretty popular girl up in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And she met Moses's dad. She immediately got pregnant. And this is where she kind of gets attached to Michael, because she's like prim and popular, and here she is pregnant out of wedlock. And Michael says, oh, I got you. I got you. We're going to get you back into Christ's good graces. Okay, we meet David. Now, what did you feel about David Delilah, I think his name is? They say it all one word, but I have it spelled out separately. Delilah. What did you think of him?
I don't know if liked him's the right word, but I felt like you could see he was like this lost boy. That's kind of like the best phrase I could put with him. He was just this lost boy looking for an identity. And I think Michael Warnicki was like it supported his power complex of like, let me teach you how to be a rightful man. And I can literally conduct your entire life. Like, and so I felt so bad for him because he did say a lot of powerful things, but I also was just like, where was did you have anyone from the outside like trying to reach out to you, or was this all you got? Was this guy all you had?
I agree. And I was glad for the inclusion of his narrative, because we have a narrative from Moses. We have a narrative from Andrea / Rusty that shows how Michael Warnicki can get these religious people already religious people into the cult, right? But David was like a successful young guy who didn't grow
Yes.
up in this religion, and he was able to get him in. And so I think it was interesting to see, like, because we think, oh, I'm quote unquote normal. I hate that term, but I'm a normal person. I'm not going to get sucked into this. But here we go. By all accounts, this guy
Yep.
was just doing his thing and gets pulled in. So it does happen.
Oh, yeah. He
Mhm.
was, like, creating religious scrupulosity. Like, he was like, let's like, you think you're a good person? Well, newsflash, you're not.
Mhm.
Also, I wanna say the fact that he would say only, like, 7 people got into heaven,
8.
who would wanna be one of those 8? Sorry. Who would wanna be one of those 8? I'd be like, "All right, Imma tap out."
Well, the 8 is
Like,
important because that's the exact members of his family.
right? Yep, yep.
Jesus
Because I'm
Christ.
like, that's a horrible business strategy. Like, that's like Mary
Yeah.
Kay saying only 8 people can be successful.
Yes.
It'd be like, okay, then I'm gonna go. Like,
Yeah.
odds
Yeah.
are it's not for me.
But this
Yeah.
is the whole like rapture and the chosen ones. This is that whole fire and brimstone thing. And, I was
Mhm.
thinking to myself, I was kind of wrestling with, do we call this a cult or do we just call this religion? Because this is this guy's religion. And
Yeah.
not all religion
Yeah.
is bad. Don't
Yep.
get me wrong. I want to
Yep.
be clear about that.
Mhm.
But
For sure.
this was
But
okay. So
religion
he's,
has a spectrum. Religion has a
yes,
spectrum of
yes.
high control, low control, and I
Hmm.
think he could be classified as a high control religion, same as
Yeah,
Mormonism, same as
yeah,
Catholicism. Like, it is a higher control of, like, this is how you live your life.
yeah. So we learn a little bit about him. We learn that Rusty liked him because Rusty met him at college. He was on
Mhm,
his college campus. And Rusty was drawn to him because he portrayed himself as a little bit of a rebel, a little bit of an
mhm,
outsider. Like he didn't want you to follow organized religion, he wanted you to follow
mhm,
him. And he
mhm,
gave himself a nickname, Crazy War. Okay. And he said, I smash things. And then we learn, and this just fits, that he is an Uncle Rico. And what I mean by that is he is somebody who peaked in high school.
Yep,
And, he went to, I think it was the University of Central Michigan on a football
mhm,
scholarship, gets hurt right
mhm,
away.
yep,
And his
yep,
whole career's dashed. So he just decides, I'm going to destroy everybody's life around me by starting a
yeah,
cult. Mhm.
yep, yep, mhm.
He does believe that he saw the resurrected Jesus on the football field,
But
as you
that's
do.
where he would be, obviously.
Mhm,
Like,
mhm.
I think that's the first thing resurrected Jesus would do.
So he's putting out pamphlets that are like, who are you going to be? What are you going to live for? You can say what you want about social media, but I am so glad we are in a world where you see this stupid shit and people actually have the ability to fact check it. When they're
Yes,
handing
yes,
out pamphlets, you have no ability to
mhm,
say, okay, is this right? You know what I mean?
yes,
It's very isolating. So he was part of the Catholic Charismatics. I looked him up a little bit. So I have a little
okay,
story about the Charismatics. Let me just read, first of all, what they are. Charismatics are a branch within Christianity, not separate from it, distinguished by their strong belief that the spiritual gifts mentioned in the Bible, like speaking in tongues, prophecy, divine healing, are active and experienced today, unlike many traditional Christians who believe these gifts ceased after the apostolic age. So while all Christians believe in Jesus, charismatics emphasize the direct personal experience of the Holy Spirit, leading to more expressive worship. So my Graham worked in the cafeteria at a local Jesuit school. And
yep,
every summer they would have the charismatics conference there. And my Graham, who really didn't have, well, I shouldn't say that. I was going to say she didn't have strong opinions. She had strong opinions about everything. I don't know what I'm thinking, but she didn't have a
yeah,
lot of strong religious opinions.
mhm,
And all I know about the charismatics is she would bitch about them constantly. She worked
mhm,
like the 2 weeks that they were on campus, and she would be
mhm,
like, "They're mean, they don't tip us, they're rude to the staff, they're demanding." Like she would go on a tirade about the charismatics. So when I heard that, I was
mhm.
kind of like, "Oh, okay, Graham.
Yep,
Looks like you
sounds
may have
familiar.
been
Mhm.
correct." Yeah.
Yes.
So
Mhm,
David is so into these pamphlets, he decides to write to Michael. Michael writes back. He's like, listen to these tapes. So here's how this guy's corresponding: tapes and pamphlets. Whatever.
So weird. So weird. And this guy's a weirdo. Like, he does not exude like power and confidence
Nope.
to me.
He is
seems
no
like
David
Looney
Koresh.
Tunes.
Yeah.
Right? Right?
Mm-mm.
Like,
no, he's like a middle-aged, and I'm a middle-aged person. I'm not throwing shade, but he's just like a middle-aged, like just blah. Like,
yeah,
there's
like if he showed
nothing
up to your
remarkable
house,
about this guy.
if he showed up your house to like check the power lines, like you wouldn't think much. Or like if he was who was checking you out at Lowe's, like it would be like, yeah, that fits. Like
That
very
fits.
average.
He's the Burger King manager. You know how sometimes you pull
Totally.
up to the window and you have the manager who's well dressed and ready
Yes.
to go. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, who has a power trip from bossing around 16-year-olds? Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Moses now is watching videos that his mom took to send to Michael. So the purpose of these videos, and they're literally brainwashing these children. Say that you love
Oh my
Jesus.
gosh.
Say, recite this prayer. And he's like, we are singing praise Jesus because we're supposed to be spouting back to Michael. Like, in other words, this was proof of life to Michael that Kathy, Moses's mother, was listening to his tapes and indoctrinating her children.
Yes.
This
yes.
is
Or they
where
would be spanked if they did not perform correctly.
not only would they be spanked, Ashley, they would have to write Bible verses on the plywood that they used to spank them.
Yes.
This is like, go pick out the switch I'm going to beat you with. This is bad.
Yes.
So they were living in rural Ohio at this point in a 1-bedroom rental. They were never in school. And Rusty says, we also homeschooled. And by we, he means Andrea.
Yeah, he used a lot of we's that just were not accurate. But
so it was interesting when I was listening to Murder in America, which I highly recommend. They were talking about so Rusty had this idea. In here we touch on it a little bit, but it's not really in the doc. Rusty had this idea that he wanted to live in a camper van because he liked the idea of living off the grid and being disconnected. So Andrea is in this like small camper van. This is before they live in the bus. They're in this small camper van at this campground in Texas. And she is in this camper with all these children. And so they talked to the campground manager, who was a woman. And she talked a lot about them because she's like, I knew them. I saw them every day. You know what I mean? And she said Rusty was so disconnected, so hands off, like a very traditional gender role dad. I'm going to go. Rusty worked at fucking NASA, by the way. I'm going to go to NASA, make my 80 grand a year, which in the late 90s was really good money. And I'm going to go do this. And Andrea's just going to stay home and raise the kids. This was what and this is where I struggle, Ashley, because like she believed in this too.
I know.
So like she was doing what she thought was right as well. And that's what kind of, makes this complicated.
Totally.
So Rusty says Andrea was the one who wanted to homeschool because she was afraid of the negative influences in school. This is something we see all the time, especially with these high control religions, is you can't have your kids. I don't know why everyone is sitting around so terrified of public school. What do they think is happening?
Like, my children are in public school. And you know what? Sometimes they come home and my daughter called me a big back and I didn't even know what that meant. So I had to Google it.
What is that?
Okay. So kids are calling other kids big back and it means that you like to eat a lot of food. So your butt's going to get big. So they're like, Mom, you're being such a big back right now. Like when you're going to look for some snacks.
Listen, you're gonna get some creative fat shaming in public school. You're gonna get some bullying. These are things that happen in public school too.
Yes.
Or private school. And these are things that can happen in any area. I went to work at a TV station in my 20s and I was fat shamed and bullied as an adult.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
It's not only happening in public school.
No. And sometimes my kid will come home and be like, what do you think about this? Like, and I'm like, I don't know. What do you think about it? Like, it sparks conversation. Like, let's learn how to creatively think. Like, I don't know. I think people are like really trying to hyper control what their kids learn. But you know
Yeah.
what? Someday this kid is going to have a little glowing device in their hand where they can literally
Yep.
learn anything that they want.
Yep.
So I don't know if it necessarily matters.
Yeah, why not teach them now to, like, question things and have some critical
Totally.
thinking skills? So,
Mhm.
Michael Warnecki, in the meantime, and his family, they have 8 kids. They have all gone on a bus to spread the word of God. So their life is awesome because 'cause they're just living on this fucking bus. And mom comes home and tells Moses, "Guess what? I bought a bus and we're gonna go street preaching." The image of these children, 5, 6, 7 years old, screaming at strangers that they're gonna go to hell. Where are
Yes.
children youth? Where are children's services? These kids need to be taken off these people.
No, he even says, "I was 3 years old yelling at people what they were that they were gonna go to hell, and I didn't even know what hell was."
Wow. Wow.
And he was such a cute kid. Can we just say he was a cute
He
kid?
was really
I
cute.
feel
You
I
just
feel so bad that this was his childhood experience.
you're a mom of young kids. You totally get this. Like, they are just so innocent and precious, and they will
Mhm,
believe anything that you tell them. That's
mhm.
why I say it's a huge responsibility. Ugh,
Yes,
drives me
yes,
crazy.
I love that you say that. It actually you've reparented me in a lot of ways when you say things
Mm,
like that it's like, it reminds me of the responsibility I'm creating in the future that's like, they will believe literally anything I say, and I
yes.
need to take that job seriously.
Yeah, even when I was a
Mhm,
teacher, like, I taught freshmen in college, I felt the same way. Like, if
mhm,
somebody came in and even if they wanted to get political, because at times we would, because we're talking about,
yeah,
like, current articles and stuff like that, I would be like, "Okay, let's talk about what you believe and why you believe it, and let's have a
mhm,
conversation. Like, I'm not
mhm,
here to tell you you're wrong." I don't know, it
mhm.
just drives me so crazy because kids are such a fucking easy target.
Yep, yep.
So,
Especially at college, like we said, when they have no identity. This is their
yeah.
time, they're trying to find the identity, and this guy's like, "Well, you're gonna burn in hell." So
And Moses talks about, and this gets interesting because at one point I felt like it was getting weirdly competitive between them and the Yates family. And basically, what Moses said is, look, there were 8 open slots for this salvation, and we were competing with the Yates family for
yeah.
them. And we were also competing with
Mhm,
Michael's own family for them.
mhm.
So he says on one visit, Michael decided to show Kathy, Moses's mother, how to spank her kids correctly. And so they go back to the back of the bus and he spanked them with the paddle. And we hear, Michael saying that kids have a lot of fat in their butt. You have to train them. They love it. They want to hear it.
They have, what did he say? Like a sin button in their butt or something
Yeah.
like that, that you
Yeah.
have to, like, beat out of them. It was so weird, and you could just see the fear in poor Moses that he was like,
Hmm.
"I'm still afraid of this man,"
Yeah.
because of the fear he elicited, to him as a child.
I mean, the religious trauma that these
Yeah.
kids are all going to grow up with and wrestle with. I don't know how you
Mhm,
overcome that.
mhm.
It's hard. So back to the Yates. They're moving out of their trailer and they're buying a bus from the Warneckis. So now they're in a 30-foot bus, I believe it is. And Andrea's in there
Yeah.
with 5 children. After Luke, number 4, was born, life got busy. So Rusty says, I lost track of the Warneckis. I don't know, but I didn't prevent Andrea from communicating. Let's talk about this because this had me enraged.
Yep.
You are perpetrating the idea that the man is the head of the house. The man calls all the
Mhm,
shots. He certainly called all the shots financially. He called all the shots with her in every way. And
yes.
now he's claiming, well, I don't know. I didn't fall for Michael's bullshit, but whatever Andrea did, she has her own mind. She could communicate with whoever she wanted. I guarantee you, he did not give her that much autonomy over any other part of her life. So you mean to
No,
tell me that
no.
you're just sitting there, you're okay with her communicating with the Warneckis, who, by the way, wife Rachel, bigger piece of shit, almost as big piece of shit as
Yes.
Michael. Mhm.
Yes, yes, with her "I submit to my husband" button. Oh
Mhm.
my hell.
Mhm.
Yeah, she
Mhm.
said that she enjoys wearing that. So she is basically keeping in contact with them because that is her only connection to the outside world, which as a mom,
Yep.
we all need. We all need
Yep.
connections to other moms. Like it is a support system that
Mhm.
Rachel took advantage of and fuck
100%.
her. Mhm.
100%. Just fuck this guy because you
Yep.
can't have it both ways. You can't
Yep,
say,
you
"I'm
can't.
the leader of the family and I control everything, but you're gonna do this thing over here and I'm totally fine with that." No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yep. But it also
S
shows how disconnected he was from her because were they not even having the conversations if what he's saying is true, he didn't even know what they were talking about. Did they not even have a conversation at the end of the day where she's like, "So I got a letter from Rachel and she told me we're all burning in hell." Like,
Well, no, Ashley, because that's her private business, and he
yeah.
respects that.
Mhm. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
For sure.
So,
For
he
sure.
he says that, Andrea did start to withdraw after Luke was born. He was kid number 4. And he says one
Mhm.
day he came home from work early and she was shaking and despondent. He says he didn't see any mental illness. He just thought maybe she's faltering. Maybe she's weak. And maybe she's tired. So instead of getting her help, he packs her up and takes her to her mother's house, which I I don't know. I could we are supposed to suspend disbelief here and believe that these two very educated people know
Yeah.
zero about mental illness. And you know
Mhm.
what? It was the mid 90s. Maybe they didn't. I don't know.
Maybe they
But
yeah.
this is
Mhm.
bizarre to me. It's bizarre.
But you can look at someone and be like, "They're not doing well." So
Mhm.
even a break, sure, take the break. But then to come back in the exact same circumstances in which she wasn't doing well and think it's
Mhm.
gonna be different, like, "Oh, her batteries are charged. She should be good. She should be able to run for
Yeah.
a little while." Like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. No. So I have more information that I'm going to talk about at the end that I found about her, including a suicide attempt that we never really talk about here.
Okay.
So, episode 2 starts with Moses saying, when I watch the cult documentaries, I'm always jealous of episode 2. Episode 2 is usually when everyone's coming together and there's this sense of community. And this is not that. This is not wild, wild country. We don't get in episode 2. And I thought that was really interesting.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
here's Rusty. Are you fucking ready for this? I have no idea what precipitated Andrea's breakdown because she never complained. She didn't tell me. Wow. Wow. Again,
Yep.
is Andrea a smart person? 100%. And again, you could be the
Mhm.
smartest person in the world and not be aware that you are having a mental breakdown. That's why it is so scary because your literal brain turns against you.
Yes. And then top like to add in the religious factor, if you are faltering, it is because you are bad. So like she's not going to be like, I'm not handling this well, because that shows her own weakness and who knows, Satan's grip. Like what like you can
So,
what I hate is that he is victim blaming with that. But
yes, yes,
continue. Mhm.
yes. And so, of course, having kids could have been it, he says, or living in a small space, maybe. He's like, I just never thought her exposure to the Warneckis was a problem. Really? Okay. He said, I did catch her standing in the bathroom with a knife to her neck at one point, but she didn't harm herself. So, that
No
was
big
good.
deal. No big deal. Yeah. Yeah.
So he gets her hospitalized, and she had postpartum depression, but most
Mhm.
likely postpartum psychosis.
Yes. Mhm.
And Rusty said, I'm sorry, I don't know why I call him Randy. It's like something in my brain is broken. I apologize.
He doesn't look
Rusty
like a
says,
Rusty. I think that that should be said. Yeah.
correct. So Rusty says, I didn't know what psychosis looks like. Okay. Okay. I have a very dear friend who went through
Mhm.
this situation. Started as
Yeah.
postpartum, very quickly went into postpartum psychosis. Her
Mhm.
husband didn't know. She didn't know. You know what I mean? She
Mhm.
needed inpatient care for a long period of time to
Yeah.
to get to the bottom of what was happening. But because I think collectively as a society, we talk more about postpartum depression. We know a little bit more about it. I think the
Mhm.
psychosis, and you please correct me if I'm wrong because you're the expert in this area, but the psychosis I think sneaks up on people and they're not aware it's
Mhm.
happening.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, and it's such a small population that it does creep into, so
Mhm.
I think, it's hard, especially, like, I see it in a area that is highly religious as well, that it does blur the lines of, like, is that spiritual, like, promptings, or is
Mm.
this my brain trying to destroy me? Like, the psychosis gets very muddy with, external beliefs, like, motivating them.
So would you say the difference is understandably like psychosis would be more extreme, but is this
Mhm.
where she's having the hallucinations and stuff like that? Is that part of that?
It can be, yeah, it's mostly just disconnection with reality. So, yeah, hallucinations, auditory visuals,
Okay.
tactile, um, that's kind of usually where we see it. Like, I've had moms that feel like just, they always feel like they're, hearing their baby cry, and
Mm. Mhm.
the baby's not, but that's usually one of the first warning signs that I look for, is like,
Mhm.
have you ever, which, as a new mom, I remember being in the shower and being like, "Did I just hear him cry?" And, like, turning off the
Yeah.
water and then turning the water
Yeah.
back on, "Did I just hear him cry?" Like, I do remember feeling that, but it's kind of like you're waking up all night because 'cause they're crying, but they're not,
Mm. Mm.
or yeah, it's just hard, and then you add sleep deprivation, which I guarantee she had, because we
Oh
know
my god, yes.
Rusty's not waking up in the night with
No, and
any
they're
of
all
these
sleep
children.
and they're all there's so many of them.
Yeah, yeah,
Ugh,
in a
God.
small space.
So Rusty says, like, I didn't know how dangerous this was. And this is where I
Mhm,
give him a little bit of leeway. Okay. I don't know if I'd be able to spot it immediately either. I would know something is
mhm,
wrong, but if you're
mhm.
not if you're not super familiar with mental health, you might not be able to spot it right away.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the she is hospitalized. The doctors give her medication. Now, one of the doctors she saw was like, "You cannot have children again. This is it.
Mm,
Like you're done. You
yes,
cannot have a fifth
yes.
child. This will end in disaster. Like do not do it."
Mhm, mhm.
And Rusty's kind of like, "Well, we asked what the risk was and they said, well, it's 50-50 that she'll exhibit these symptoms and require treatment." So he's like, okay, well, case scenario, she gets sick like the flu.
I wanted to reach through the
Ashley?
screen and punch him in the throat. Like, what the hell? Like, the flu that kills your whole family, dude? Like, no. This was insanity. Like, the way that he okay, the way that he treated her was, did you ever watch Shrek?
Yes.
By chance. Okay. Lord
Of
Farquaad,
course.
he says on there, he says, "Some men may die, but that is a sacrifice I am willing to make." This is Rusty's
Yes.
vibe, that he's like, "She might get the flu, but that's the sacrifice I'm willing to make. She's just the mom."
And
Like,
the fact that he's like, very much like when you get the flu and you get better, she'll get some of this and we'll get her better like we did this. It's a fundamental lack of understanding about mental illness,
yep,
and it's
yep,
frustrating.
yeah,
And I think many people failed Andrea Yates, including the mental health system.
I agree. I agree. I
So,
think that she should have been required to have more inpatient, but also, like,
mhm,
continuous well checks and
yep,
mandatory therapy. Like, there's so many things that could have done, like a freaking safety plan. That is number 1. Someone comes in here with any postpartum depression,
yeah,
um, we're making a safety plan. You're giving your husband my phone number. We are coming up with a plan as a team that
yes,
if this thought gets to here, emergency room. Here's the top 3 emergency rooms nearby you. Like, this, which, again, I was an infant basically when all this was going on, so I don't know what it looked like then, but I the fact that I would hope this would never fly today, but I do think the mental health system failed her so bad.
so badly because she's had several hospitalizations and a few of them they had to cut short because of insurance.
Yeah.
So there
Yep.
you go. Don't get me started on that.
And
So
that
now,
happens today.
oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So now Michael is selling that all women have a witchcraft nature. All women are witches. That's just our nature. We just want to be a witch.
I love it. I
And
love it. I own
w-
that.
yep, and we're trying to control men. And we see a video of Michael and his family, and Rachel's like, "I'm wicked, I'm weak, and thank God my husband is here to control me."
Yep. Or else who knows what I'd be doing? I'd be stripping on the rooftop.
Now, this was interesting because they played it for Rusty. And Rusty's like, he watches it and he's like, "Well, I don't agree with this now, but at the time I think," that's another thing he is downplaying is his
Yep.
religiosity, because
Yep.
he was very fanatical.
Yep.
And they were also sending the Warneckis money.
Yep.
Now, Andrea didn't have a job, Rusty. How is she sending them money if you don't know that she's communicating with them? I smell
Mhm.
bullshit.
He's rewriting history here. And I think that's
Oh,
so frustrating, which can we just agree he has crazy eyes? Rusty has crazy eyes. So there's something
can we
behind the scenes there.
can we discuss the level of detachment with what he is talking about this, A, and B,
Yes.
watching the videos of the kids?
Oh, he's like,
Like,
he would have been a great linebacker. I would be
I felt like I
uncontrollable.
was more upset for his children than he was.
Yes. And
It
even
was
watching
weird.
Andrea be such a good mother. And he even said that he's like, she was such a good mom.
Mhm.
And it's like, what I feel like he has completely removed himself from it because he reminds me of a mom overusing Xanax. Like that is the vibe he gives me because
Yeah.
he is so removed from the situation
So
that it's just
removed.
like he's like, yeah, I kind of knew those kids. And maybe that's why. Maybe I just thought of that. Maybe that's why he was so removed because he was like, yeah, I kind of remember when they were this age. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. It's dark. All
Yeah.
right. So we get some of David's story. I'm not getting too much into this. He basically is communicating with Michael, sends him $20,000. Michael's controlling every part of his life, telling him to call off engagements and everything else. It's real wild.
Can we just say how silly it is that Michael Warnecki sent David a video of him dressed up like the devil? Like,
Okay. Yes. Yes.
that is one
Yes.
point I want to point out. Like, I would receive this and invite my friends over to giggle about it. Like, this, like, he's a smart man. This shows how deep his religious scrupulosity was by falling for this shenanigans.
It was a scene right out of Righteous Gemstones. Did you ever watch that?
No, but I love the little lore that
Uncle
I'm
Baby
gathering
Billy.
about it.
Mhm.
Yes, yes.
There's a scene in there where they're trying you have these, like, Keystone Cops kind of, people
Mhm,
trying to blackmail Kenny Powers, as I
mhm.
call him, and they're
Yeah.
they're wearing masks like this and, like, being buffoons, and I'm like, "Oh my god."
Right? Like, what in the spirit Halloween store is going on here? Because it
Mhm.
was not even believable. And can you imagine him rewatching it and be like, "Yeah, that sounds good. Send it off." Like,
So wild to me. So Rusty
wild.
says, are you ready for this? Rusty's like, by the time we had all the children, I was just too busy. I was busy. I was busy with the kids. I was busy with work. I didn't have time to talk to Warnecki, but I wasn't going to stop Andrea. I mean, she's a strong, independent woman. She could do what she wants. Sure, Jan. Okay.
Sure, Jan. Yeah, now she is. Mhm.
So he says a few months after Mary was born, Andrea plummeted down to where she was in 99. She was picking at her hair. She was convinced that she had 666 on her head somewhere. Is bad.
Yes, yes. And even the picking, at that
Mhm.
point,
Mhm.
would you not
Mhm.
say, "Let's just
Something's
go
wrong.
get things checked out. Let's just"
Something's wrong.
they told us this could happen, so I'm noticing a little bit of red flags after being warned, "Do
Mhm.
not do this."
Mhm.
What happens? Like, failed,
And
failed.
here's the thing, right? Like, when you are suffering from psychosis or any, I want to say, like, intense mental illness,
Mhm,
you are in such a vulnerable state, and you better
mhm,
hope that you have a partner or somebody in your life who will care for you and shepherd you through that hard time with care and with
mhm.
grace and with respect. He did none of that. None of
Mhm.
that. She didn't
Yeah.
know. Like, yes, she
Mhm.
was super smart. She was a great nurse. She knew, she knew this world, but when it's happening to you, you don't know it. Oh,
Mhm.
it's just so heartbreaking. It's because she needed him and he
Mhm.
was not there,
You
and her
have
family wasn't either.
you have no connection to reality,
No,
um, with psychosis, but also postpartum. Like, I remember feeling like a shell of a human who just was like a
me
milk
too.
machine,
Yeah.
and, um, you have no connection to the outside, and he should have been that.
Yeah.
Like, which just shows, like, well, that's the woman's job, and
Yeah.
it failed her.
Yeah. So Rusty says that he called around for a psychiatrist but couldn't find anyone who was taking patients. So he
Mhm.
finally calls Andrea's brother. They carry her to the car. They take her to a mental health facility and she is admitted.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Michael's really doing a number on Moses's family. He's ripping up the mother for being sinful, leaving the father. Like Moses is in a hell of his own family over there.
Mhm.
And Rusty claims that Andrea just stayed in the hospital for a week or two before they kicked her out because he thinks the insurance ran. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. You think you'd remember that fact?
Oh, yeah, especially replaying it of how could I have
Yeah.
prevented this?
Yeah. He says he did not know at the time that she was having full blown hallucinations and thought the devil was in her. Now, there is some, according to Murder in America's podcast, there is some evidence to back up that she was not telling anybody about this.
Mhm.
So maybe he's telling the truth there. But I
Mhm.
still think you could see the signs. She's
You can
despondent.
definitely
She's
tell when
thinking.
people
She's
are
trying to
having
commit suicide.
hallucinations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had someone this week having hallucinations, like,
Yeah.
staring at my rug thinking a person was laying on it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you can tell when they're, like, staring, you're like, "What do you see? What's going on?" Like,
Yeah.
"You're not looking at me, you're looking elsewhere," but then again, that would require the time he didn't have.
Yeah. Exactly. Did we know that Rusty delivered the eulogy at the kid's funeral? Holy shit.
But
Wow.
talk about detachment, though.
Right. I delivered the eulogy at my father-in-law's funeral and could barely get
Mhm.
through it. I
Yeah,
could not even
no,
imagine 5 of my children.
no, no.
Okay. He does this press conference where he defends her and he explains that she had postpartum depression. And he says because he defended her, people blamed him. Well, it was easy to blame him. Yeah, it was
Mhm.
because you're at fault
It
here.
was.
You're not the only
Yes.
one at fault, but you bear responsibility in this.
But what did he expect? Like, people are asking why, but he's saying, "Don't blame Andrea," which I agree,
Yes.
to a point, but the fact that he's like, "Well, don't blame her, but don't blame me," like,
Well, and that's the thing about him.
people are just trying to understand.
He's so complicated because in like you read where he did some things really right. Like he
Mhm.
did more than I thought. I had misremembered and I thought he did nothing, but that's
I
not
thought he did
true.
nothing. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
not
same.
true. He did do
Mhm,
things. He got her help here and there. He wanted her to stay medicated. She didn't want to stay on the medication because Michael
mhm,
Warnecki didn't believe in it. Also,
mhm,
she fell into a trap of the medicine is working, so I must be better. So I'm going, and you
mhm,
probably see this all the time. So I'm going to go off my
mhm.
medication because I'm okay now. Well, you're only okay
Yep,
because the medicine is making you okay. But
all
that's
the
a common
time.
thing. That's
Mhm.
a common thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, he needed to advocate for her and he didn't. Not strong enough.
Mhm.
All right. So, Moses says he understood why Andrea did this and he was actually jealous and he says he would have gotten in the tub and that sent shivers up my spine.
Chills.
Yeah.
I felt sick. I paused it after that for just a minute, and I was just like,
Mhm.
"Holy shit." Like, he would have, because that was one, you don't disobey your parents at all.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
questions asked, you don't disobey your parents, and that was the only way her kids were gonna be saved, and so
Yeah.
when they're hearing since they're infants that they're gonna burn in hell and being
Yeah.
like, "If you do this, you'll for sure go to heaven." Like, I just think of the little kids being like, "Okay, mom." Like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah. It's heartbreaking. It's
Mhm,
heartbreaking. As a kid, you just never think that your parent is gonna hurt you, ever.
mhm,
It's
mhm.
it's just it's so heartbreaking. So the final episode talks more about the act of the murder. And we see Susie Spencer, who wrote a book on this called Breaking Point, and she says it was inconceivable that a mother could kill her own children. But while she
Yeah.
was researching this story, she was an independent journalist at the time. She was tipped off about Michael Warnecki, and she got a bunch of anonymous letters. And
Mhm.
she really started to blow the whistle on all of this. It was interesting.
Yeah. Mhm.
So February 18th, 2002, Andrea's in court, and her defense lawyer, Wendell Odom, says Andrea Yates was one of the most insane, mentally ill people I had ever met and represented. And he says in court, if she doesn't meet the requirements of not guilty by reason of insanity, I don't know what does.
Yep. Yep.
So they had
Which
to make
also made me think, how did Rusty not see it?
right.
Like, it's not like she
Wendell
just
saw it
got
in
this
5
bad.
minutes.
Yeah, it's not that she just got this bad after she like committed the act. It's like whatever. Yeah.
So they had to make the case that Andrea knew this was illegal, but didn't know it was wrong. And they do
Mhm.
find her guilty of capital murder after only 35 minutes of deliberation. Rusty's there crying, saying he couldn't blame her. Wendell says we didn't do a good enough job of explaining her mental illness. Warnecki is not held accountable at all. He gets some bad press, but nothing crazy. And he's still doing this, by the way, still
He's
doing this
still
bullshit.
doing.
Mm-hmm. So David goes public with his experience with Michael, and Michael decides I'm gonna come back at this, and I'm gonna go on Good Morning America with Charlie Gibson, and I'm gonna wear my Jesus Lives T-shirt, and I'm gonna bring my nice, pretty, shy, quiet wife, and
Don't you say a word
yeah,
that
and
we haven't rehearsed.
he gets on there and he's blaming Rusty. Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Charlie's kind of like, you guys are crazy, right? He's like,
Yeah. Yes. Like,
so I would love to hear from Charlie Gibson. Like, what was that like?
I bet it was like, as soon as it cut cameras, like, don't talk to me about anything.
Yeah,
else.
we're done.
Goodbye.
We're done. We're done.
Yes. Yeah.
We hear from a childhood friend of Michael Warnecki's. He confirms everything we thought. Big guy on campus, lost his scholarship for Central Michigan, decided to ruin everybody's life. He got arrested a bunch of times. He committed DV, no surprise here. He gets this friend who's a reporter to publish a rebuttal to the Andrea Yates case, and he's like, she didn't love Jesus enough, clearly. Wow. Okay, so there's this website that sprouts up by Douglas, who's another survivor, and it's called Michael Warnecki, the Ultimate False Prophet. And this is some like pre-AOL bullshit. Like it's a wild website, but here we go. Let me see. Andrea gets a new trial now because the state had used an expert who gave false testimony about Law and Order episode. So basically, the expert they called in worked as a consultant for Law and Order and said on the stand, oh, we worked on an episode where a mother drowned her kids and blamed it on postpartum depression. And the jury was like, turns out that episode was not made at the time. So that was false.
Wow.
So she gets a new trial, same lawyers. They're ready to fight harder for her now to get the insanity plea. And they also bring in the Michael Warnecki stuff, and they bring in a lot of it. Like it was touched on in the first trial, but they brought in much more of it. So the defense supplied the jury with a bunch of Michael Warnecki's teachings that they found in Andrea's house. We meet Todd, the jury foreman. What'd you think of him?
Well, I feel like he gives me like leader vibes, like where he's like, let's start a riot, which turned out to be what's best. But I don't know. I don't really know what I thought about him. I felt like he was just kind of like, he felt really passionate about this. And you could tell that he probably has told this story a million times. This is probably what he talks about at parties. And I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. He comes off as somebody who's always going to take leadership in a room.
Yes.
But I thought what he said was really interesting. You know, he talked about how they had to judge Andrea by the law and let God judge her beyond that. Like, that was
I
not
do
their
like how
place.
he wrote that on the board. Yes.
Mhm,
Which I
mhm.
agree. Like reminding the jury the role of the jury in the jury system.
Yeah, and Todd said, he's like, "We requested the Perilous Times," which was this idiot's newsletter, to read it, and they were stunned, and they said it just shone a light on what Andrea's like, did she have mental illness? Of course, but there's this thing running in the background that is confirming her worst fears and everything else,
Mhm.
and it's
Yeah.
so
I
a
think it was him that
psychologist.
said,
Go ahead.
or somebody said, mental illness was the trellis that the Michael Warnecki vine grew.
It's the opposite. He said,
Oh, really?
Andrea
Oh,
Yates' religion was the trellis upon which the ivy of her mental illness grew. And I thought that was
yes. And I
great.
loved that.
Yes,
I
I
was like,
loved
that is
it.
so accurate.
Mhm, mhm. So, Andrea believed that cartoons on TV were talking to her, saying that she was a bad mother. Where is she getting like, she said over and over and over and over again that she was a bad mother. And I wonder where she was hearing that. And I wonder if, yes, part of it was, delusion and her own self deprecation and her mental illness, whatever. But I also
Mhm.
wonder if having a spouse or partner who said once in a while, "You're a really good mom to these kids," would have helped change that narrative, or I'm not saying it
Mhm.
would have prevented what happened.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
but I'm just wondering if it would have changed that thought of herself, if it would have helped reframe that negative thought.
I agree. I agree. And I think that having Rachel send her the messages, um, like that basically, if anything, if her kids turn out bad in any way, like that is on her,
Yeah,
and that it's probably already too late. Like,
yeah,
and then once they're the age of the accountability, like I think Rachel was really putting this like it's too late narrative that I think she should be
yeah.
held accountable for.
And there's this whole thing about 12, like, your children are
Mhm.
innocent until they're 12, according to Michael
Mhm.
Warnecki, and so, like,
Mhm.
they need to be saved. Like,
Yeah.
ugh.
Did you ever
So,
learn anything like that?
I was raised Roman Catholic, we were not taught that at all. We didn't
Okay.
do a lot of rapture ending. It was
Mhm.
mostly like, if you get married or if you have a kid out of wedlock, you're a sinner, and you could just confess and
Okay.
you're good. Like, it wasn't
Okay.
fire and brimstone at all.
Because for us, age of it, well, for Mormonism, I'm not anymore, but for Mormonism, it is 8, which I'm like, who chooses these ages? Like there is no data to
Well,
support either of these ages.
in Catholicism, you are baptized as a baby because they believe that you're born with sin. So,
Mhm,
maybe it
mhm.
starts from birth that you're born with sin,
Oh,
but you're
yeah.
baptized and that's washed away and you're good.
Yeah, that's how
Yeah.
8 is. You're baptized at 8 in Mormonism,
Mhm.
and then you're good. Mhm.
Yeah. So, after production ended, Moses asked to meet Rusty. Now, what did you think of this conversation?
It was so awkward. That's the best way
Mhm.
I could say it. Um, I felt like Rusty was so disconnected from this young man. He was kinda
Mhm.
like, "What are we doing here?" Like,
Mhm.
again, with the crazy eyes. And but then Moses was like, "I need to tell you that I was jealous of your children for dying, and I also realize how inappropriate it is that I'm telling you that."
Mhm.
But I think he was jealous because it's like they were one of the 8 at the time they got in, like, they're in,
Yeah.
so
So
it
there's been a lot of people have had a problem with that statement.
yeah. Mhm.
Um, I didn't, because I think he was talking about he was jealous. He's not saying now.
Yes.
I think he was
Yes, yes.
talking about what that would have meant to him as a child,
Like,
right?
and he even said, "With my beliefs at the time, I was jealous of your children," and I don't think he was jealous that they died. The fact that they, like, in a suicidal way, like, "I wish I was dead." I didn't take it that way. I literally took
No.
it as, like, "Well, there's less spots in heaven now."
Yeah. They were saved. Mhm.
Yep. Mhm.
So, Rusty explains that he okay, he had a solid religious foundation that was forged in grace and forgiveness. And Andrea was kind of raised with the fire and brimstone stuff. So she was more susceptible to that. Fuck right off, dude.
No. Nope. You introduced her to this man. Period. And he
You
said,
wanted her. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
He said, I do wonder what it would be like if I hadn't.
What? I just felt that there was no accountability from him. It was weird. It was weird. Like, I almost feel like, do you have a good friend in your life that could have told you not to do this? Because this is not helping. I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
God.
Even the things that she had highlighted in those newsletters that said like tying a rock to your neck and casting into the sea is better. A millstone to your neck is better than causing a little one to stumble.
Yeah.
I would like to think that if any of my friends were to say that to me, if a spouse were to say that to me, if anyone said that to me, I'd be like, let's take a break from Michael Warnecki. Like this is not serving you in this state of life right now.
Yep.
And he's just so removed from it. That's like, well, it was her choice to read it. It was her choice to write him. It was her choice to believe. And I'm like, you neglected her. Own that.
Yeah. So I have some deep digging that I did. Just give me 10 minutes to kind of fill this out a little bit. First of all, we do get at the end of the documentary that Rusty continues to work for NASA and has a son from a second marriage. Not a lot of detail there.
Nope.
All right. So deep digging. Here we go. Andrea's new trial was granted in 2006. Rusty filed for divorce from Andrea during her incarceration in July 2004. And the pair reached a finalized agreement in March 2005. As part of the settlement, Andrea received $7,000 from Rusty and a portion of his retirement benefits from his time at NASA. This is according to the Midland Reporter-Telegram. She was also granted the right to be buried near her 5 children. Only months later, in March 2006, less than 2 days before Andrea's retrial, Russell married Laura Arnold at, are you ready for this? The Clear Lake Church of Christ. So do we know anything about that religion? The church, when it says the Church of Christ, like, could that just be a regular church? I don't know.
I think it's just a regular church. There's a lot of Church of Christ here. Where it'll be like the Wasatch Church of Christ, like that. But who knows?
Okay, what we believe. We believe God created. Okay, baptism. Yeah, I don't know. I would have to do some deep digging on this. I apologize. But I just wanted to know, like, what religion is this guy up to? Do you know what I mean? I'm curious about that.
And how weird would it be to marry a man who lost his entire family that way?
I know.
And also be like, have you dealt with this? Like, you're not.
Well, they're divorced now. They're divorced now.
Are they? Okay.
Yes.
That's up.
So in March 2008, Laura gave birth to the couple's son, Mark, and Yates later revealed that year that he spoke to Andrea on the phone about once a month and even shared pictures of his new child with her.
Ugh,
then Yates confirmed to Chris Cuomo in 2023 that he and Arnold divorced at an undisclosed time. Did Rusty get her help? According to her best friend, no. And her best friend said she pleaded with him and he wasn't doing enough. She had a history of depression and mental illness. She reported that of her 4 siblings, I'm sorry, there were 4 siblings. 2 were diagnosed with depression and a 3rd with bipolar disorder. That time that Rusty took her to her mom's to quote unquote cool down a little bit, she overdosed on her father's medication, and that suicide attempt led to her first hospitalization. Her second one occurred 5 weeks later after she attempted to cut her throat. Her discharge diagnosis was major depressive episode, severe, recurrent with psychotic features. After a couple months of subsequent psychiatric outpatient appointments, Mrs. Yates dropped out of treatment because she was, quote, feeling better. She had 2 more hospitalizations. In the days leading up to the murder, this is from, somebody did their thesis on her from, let me see, Cleveland. Sorry, I should know this. Okay. Cleveland State Law Review. They were talking about the insanity defense. So she had 2 hospitalizations, like I said. Okay, leading up to the murder, she didn't tell anybody about her psychotic ideas because she believed that Satan would use this information against her and force her to kill her children. Doesn't that break your heart?
Yeah.
That she was
Yeah.
suffering in silence?
Which
She did.
just gives so much more power to that voice in your head when you don't say it. There's a phrase that I say all the time, but it's like secrets keep you sick. They do. And like the more that you are like, I can't tell anyone this, whatever that narrative in your brain is telling you is fueling that secret to give it more power.
Wow. That's so true. That's so important. She did not reveal her psychotic thinking to her psychiatrist when she kept her outpatient appointments on June 4th and June 18th, which was only 3 days before the murders. Her psychiatrist discontinued her antipsychotic medication on June 4th because of side effects, but continued her on an antidepressant. So she refuses to go up for parole. She's in the Kerrville State Hospital, maximum security psychiatric center, where she remains. She's eligible for periodic reviews regarding her confinement, but has consistently declined to seek release. So she's still very sick.
Yeah, I read something that says she would like to stay there for the remainder of her life.
Yeah.
And
It's just
honestly,
it's so
I
sad.
would too. Like it's so sad, and the guilt, and that's what that article was saying, is like the guilt of her children weighs on her every day.
Yeah.
And it would. You can't, there's no medication that can
No.
numb that. There's no like new rebirth of life that could numb that. Like I'd feel the same way.
My heart breaks for her.
Me too.
Which I kind of came into this documentary knowing that I would feel empathy for her. And I know that may sound confusing to a lot of people who are like, she did this terrible thing, but she was sick. She was sick, period. You know what I mean? And nobody is going to punish her more than she punishes herself, I'm sure.
I agree.
Every day.
I feel so much empathy for her. I feel like when you're in a state that bad, and it was a slow trickle, that but when you're in a state that bad, that there's no amount of reason that could stop this train without severe help. And I just, it makes me sad that the things that weigh on my mind is, how could you do all 5? How could you keep going? How could you keep going? But that also shows me how sick she was.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the same vein, like I can't understand it because I'm not sick. And thankfully she's better now, but I would rather stay sick at that point. I would rather be like, I want to be exit from reality forever.
Andrea deserved more support from Rusty, but who ultimately deserved more from Rusty were his children.
Yes.
They deserved more from their father. He did not protect them, period.
Nope.
And he was told that she was a danger to her. And, you know, it's so funny because he's like, well, yeah, we were told she was a danger to herself, but not the children. Isn't that enough? Her being a danger to herself?
Yeah, but he treated her very much like a casualty. Like whatever happens to her. She might cry in the shower for a couple weeks. That's a sacrifice I'm willing to take. Like he very much gave that vibe. And I know that this documentary really, really wanted to focus on the cult behind it. So I'd like to say, like, why is it that if someone will text their friend and say, I want to end my life, and that friend doesn't do anything, they are held responsible? Or, you know, like, or if someone's encouraging someone to end their life, they're held responsible.
Yeah.
But Michael and Rachel are have gotten away scot-free from this. There
Yeah.
are letters and tapes and evidence supporting this, and they literally have had no lawsuits or anything against them for this. If I was Rusty, I would be like, I will fight you till the end of my
I'm
life
gonna sue the
so that
shit out of this guy.
you knew you ruined my life. You ruined my
Yep.
wife's life. Like, and I also have complicated feelings with him divorcing her, but also, I don't know. What are your thoughts about that?
I think he is more than happy to just walk away from it. And that's disgusting because
I
you're
think
part
so
of this,
too.
dude.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He's like
Yeah.
rebranding. And it was
He
like,
gets to start
why
over and she doesn't.
was Moses more torn up during this documentary than the father of these children?
Thank you. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Guys,
So,
please tell
so
your
crazy.
college age kids that if they see these fucking preachers on campus to walk on past because
Yep.
he's
Yep.
still doing this. He's still going to universities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Totally. And then I also want to give a little plug that if you ever like have someone that's pregnant and it might seem like it can start during pregnancy, if they're noticing that they're not enjoying their pregnancy, if they're noticed that they're like
Mhm.
denying care or not naming the baby, not wanting to set up the nursery, not wanting to buy clothes, like those are beginning signs of this. Okay. And then after baby, you notice a disconnection, not wanting to feed the baby, not letting anyone else hold the baby, hyper anxiety, like intense rage, like these are all the warning signs so that your loved ones never get to this point. And one thing I want to say, which is totally an unfortunate benefit of Andrea Yates' case, is it really highlighted the women's mental health during pregnancy and after pregnancy, and there was a huge shift in postpartum mental health care after this. Like
Oh,
after
interesting.
her second trial in 2007, there was
Mhm.
such a push to start taking care of mom's mental health. And if that's the only good that has come out of this, I
Mhm.
honestly think it is the only good that has come out of this.
Yeah.
But that in itself hopefully makes this case never repeat itself.
Yeah, and I would also add, if you have a friend who is starting to say, "Oh, I know this preacher," like I'm not
Mhm.
being lighthearted here. This is serious.
Totally.
If somebody's saying to you like, I'm involved with this church or this organization or these people, and
Mhm.
this is what they're saying, and it doesn't sound healthy, investigate that. Investigate
Yeah.
that because
Yeah.
these things just thrive in the dark, like you said. Secrets
Mhm.
make us sick. Like it's just
Mhm.
you got to watch because people fall for this shit. And it's not their fault. These people, they're like the people who are doing it, the Michael Warneckis of the world,
Mhm.
are very clever and very good at what they do. And so we
And
need to
in
keep eyes on them.
in a world of social media, I believe this is a Ashley only prophecy, is that there's going to be like this influencer cult type followings that we're going to be seeing in the next couple of decades, where because people come in here and are like, I'm following this person and they're telling me what to do every day and how to live and
Mhm.
how many kids I should
Mhm.
have and that I shouldn't work and that I shouldn't do this and that,
Interesting.
like, they're like, it's almost more accessible to follow someone so religiously now, and
Interesting.
people may not even be talking about it. Like, they could be like, "Yeah, I follow this person and they tell me which Bible verse to read every day." Like, that's a
Yeah.
thing. That is a
Yeah.
thing. And
Uh,
and
I
so
don't
I
like
could
that.
see, like, Michael Warnecki's having to send out these tapes and videos. People can do that for way less effort and have
Yeah.
just as much of a following worldwide.
Michael Warnecki on his little IBM processor, just typing up
Did
like
he take
everyone's going to hell.
did he take his mask off for that part? Like, I
Oh
don't
god, I
know.
hate him
Yeah.
so much. All
Yes.
right, guys. I think we covered it all. I didn't love the documentary, and I'm hearing your criticism. A bunch of couch detectives in our Facebook group watched it and they were like, I hear that. I agree with
Yep.
you. Could have been 2 hours, a 2 hour episode, like a documentary instead of a docuseries.
Agreed.
But I do think that it's a cautionary tale that needed to be
Sure.
told. I think that what people wanted was a more comprehensive doc. So this stuff plus what was going on, but it wasn't that. And I get it. On my little Bob Durst scale, I'm just going to give this like 1.5. It's not
Mhm.
amazing, but I'm glad it's
I
out
agree.
there. The more awareness that we could bring to this issue, the better.
Yeah, do you think they make more money having it be a series versus, just one shot?
There's gotta be, right? There's
There's gotta
gotta be
be.
a financial payoff for this.
For sure, because there's so much more information. I'm like, if we're gonna make it a docuseries, you could have gone way deeper than you did, and you missed a
Yeah.
lot of points that you could have gone into, but
Yep.
whatever.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, Ashley, thank you so much. Do you have anything you want to plug? Anywhere you want people to find you, or are you just doing your thing?
I do have an episode on Find Her Again that we did with someone with postpartum psychosis. It should be on there. We had all
Find
the
Her
plans
Again is the pod, right?
Find Her Again. Yep, yep.
Mhm.
Where my best friend Amy and I did a podcast, and we're still
How dare
working on the
you have
reboot.
another friend named Amy?
That's why you had to add the E to really distinctify yourself in my friend circle. Yes.
No, that sounds great though. So Find Her
Mhm.
Again. They can find it anywhere they listen to podcasts, right?
Anywhere. Yep. Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. That sounds great.
And then over on Little Miss Recap when we hang out, it'll be great.
Yay, yay.
Mhm.
All right, Ashley, thank you so much as always for lending your expertise, your empathy, and your just your overall view on things. We really appreciate it.
Anytime.
If you guys would like to support the show, please consider signing up for Patreon at $8. We also have a $25 tier, which I know is a lot, but that's our super sleuths, and it just helps keep the pod running, and we really appreciate you. So, but you get all your bonus content and ad-free stuff for $8. So if you can support us, we really appreciate it. And if not, leave a 5-star review if you like what you heard, and share this episode with somebody. All right. Thank you. And we'll see you next time.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.